Welcome to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence in You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host, Rebecca Miller, along with co-host Otto, and of course, radio show producer Kristina who guides us through Talk of the Town. So we're kind of following up now on the Talk Project Independence in You. We were speaking with Dr. Kaplan, who is an allergist, specialist, immunologist, and really was a great show, Kristina.
You might be our allergy guru, I think. I have to say this topic, Otto had brought it up a couple of months back, and he said we have to find someone to talk about allergies. So I tracked down Dr. Kaplan over at Northwell, and really jam-packed because, we were talking off air, and I said, nowadays, I feel, when I was a kid, you didn't hear that much about allergies. Some people would have the allergies, but now I feel like every person I know has allergies one extent, whether it's seasonal or whether. And when I was a kid, we brought peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in school, and like now you can't really do that. So it's interesting, how these allergies, whether it just became more awareness or it was just, the environmental, like so many different factors, why it seems everyone is suffering one way or another with allergies. So
well, great job by you getting her on the show. So that was a positive, a good one.
Yeah, very informative. I mean, this desensitization stuff is it's not exactly what you think. Just because they're making a little bit more desensitized to peanuts doesn't mean that you go and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It just means that, the things that kind of maybe even the peanuts transfer, maybe at the same knife or, a plate you're sharing, or there was peanuts on a plate, it's just making you a little less sensitive to that. So, I mean, it's very, very interesting. And of course, never try desensitization at home.
And I think the message also of, listening to Dr. Kaplan's segment is how important it is to really meet with an allergist. Because I think, I was laughing, while I was listening, because so many of my friends, will say, oh, I'm allergic to penicillin. Oh, I have a shellfish allergy. And I'm like, how do you even know? So it's like these things that you've like just kind of went with your whole life, whether there was some kind of incident or, your whatever it might be, so I think it's so important to find out, like your son, like what we were saying about, different penicillin stuff. So, because you might not be, and I think especially with penicillin, when I spoke to Dr. Kaplan, she really wanted to get that message out about penicillin allergies and how important it is to really find out if you actually are,
Right.
So.
And
that was really amazing, honestly. The fact that penicillin is such a valuable tool to fight stuff, and you can't do it because you've been falsely analyzed that you're allergic to it. That could be a bad thing.
What did you say? 5% or less of the people that
really
are currently think they're allergic to penicillin are not.
So that means,
again,
no, I think
you've got to go to an allergist to kind of make that determination, because they're, if you're not sensitive to it.
Was it the other way around, that 5% are really allergic to penicillin?
5% are yes, correct. That right.
Out of 100 people that say they have it, only 5%
actually
are really allergic.
Right, exactly.
We were laughing, saying, for our own selfishness, we were asking, personal questions. But I think, people who are listening, it's relatable to them, because I do find in the allergy world, it is a bit of a guessing game. And Otto, you brought up such great points, like, what do I take, when my nose is runny, my nose is stuck, it's this crazy fine line. And I think also since, COVID came into the picture, it's like, is it a cold? Is it allergies? Is it COVID? So you're constantly trying to play like, what is my best, plan of action? And you do have to be careful when there's like a decongestant, involved in things. And Otto, I'm very intrigued because my mom also sneezes after eating dinner. And she's going to be glad to know she's not the only one that this happens to, Otto. So
I
you
don't just sneeze once either. I mean, it's like,
yeah, it's her too.
are you done? No, I'm not done. I
Yeah.
can tell I'm not done.
But I know we
I'm
thought
a threer. I sneeze 3 times. As anybody in this office can tell you, if I sneeze once, 2 sneezes are coming, and they may not. They're usually back to back, but sometimes they're not. Just a little.
Yeah, but
Little
they're good
tidbit.
hearty sneezes though, right? They're not like, baby
No,
sneezes.
yes.
My
no.
sneezes
They
are
pack
like,
a punch.
Yeah,
Yes.
they pack up. Everybody, they're loud enough that everybody in the office will say, "Bless you,"
Yes.
So yeah.
but I think,
I
frankly,
think
I
it is
think that
important.
that's,
These,
I think it's a cleansing thing. I think whatever it is that's causing that problem is being sneezed out, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I do, and I think, she mentioned too, and I love that she got a lot of golden nuggets, Dr. Kaplan, in her
Yes.
segment. Because
Definitely.
she was mentioning, I am like a huge advocate of the air purifier. I find it just incredible. I think it really helps. I have one in my bedroom, one in my living room,
Do you
and
really?
it really makes a difference. And I also, on a side fun note, on Black Friday, I actually won another air purifier. So I have a third one. Not sure I'm going to do with it yet, but
Now,
it's
a
quite the
question. We're not doing commercials here, obviously,
yes.
but offline, uh, could you send me the name of what you think is a good
Yes, I can.
purifier, and one that might be quiet as well?
Yes. We really ramped up our love of air purifiers, obviously, during, COVID and stuff. And what just made me laugh, because I was reflecting on the holidays. This was a few years back during COVID. I was sitting here in my kitchen doing the radio show, and I think I was doing my ramblings, about air purifiers. And all of a sudden, an air purifier shows up in front of my house, and John Ryan had sent me one of my air purifiers that's in my bedroom was actually from John Ryan because he knew how much I loved an air purifier. So it's just see, he's helping my from above. He's helping my allergies in the house, but really does and especially it's just so satisfying when you take it out to you really see everything it's collected, and we're a house of people, everyone's got different kinds of allergies. I do think I even might have a bit of a allergy to my dog, but you know what, that's okay, I'm gonna have to just power through that one. But it's I have very sensitive skin, and I will get, and this used to happen with my mom's cats too, like, and it doesn't last that long, but it is like a bumpy, like kind of contact dermatitis, wherever it might be. So anything helps. And I certainly couldn't agree more with, we had carpet in our living room when we moved in, and a few years back we actually removed that, and it really made such a difference too with dust and allergies also. So
Now,
it's
that's
it's these
another
little things.
subject I'm looking at is, again, we don't do commercials, okay?
Yes.
But there are people that they do like steaming and clean off carpets and whatnot. We have rugs because I don't think the floor below the carpeting is probably that good. So that'd
Yeah.
become a
Yes.
major task. Uh, but that's another one, carpet cleaning, air filters, ducts.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of these things, unfortunately, unless you know people who have used people, is there's a certain something that goes on marketing wise in all of these areas, like, for $15 get your whole house cleaned.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Okay. Uh, there's right away the guard goes up.
Yeah,
How
of
can you
course.
possibly do that for $15? So chances are they're not going to do it for $15.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be a hooker in there somewhere,
Hmm.
but we
Yeah,
can't.
no, absolutely. And I think, unfortunately, it's like with everything, because they are, do you think there is probably, behind it, as the doctor told us, a value to when anything has air passing through it or collecting, it really is important to clean. And of course, that takes maintenance and everything. I mean, I laugh because I don't know if anyone else, but we have a lot of electronics in our house, and electronics collect so much dust. And you're like, how is this even possible? Like, where'd this happen? It's like it'll be on, the cable box, or, we have like a speaker thing. So it really is something that you constantly have to, get after. But there are these little things that I think, are proactive and certainly help you to breathe better.
You know who I find is pretty good at giving you straight answers on stuff like this is Consumer Reports.
Yes, great.
I use them quite often,
Mm-hmm.
and which leads me to a topic that we talked about here, but they had an article in their latest magazine that might be of interest to you.
Cool.
This is written by Consumers Report. Should you get pet insurance? And it gives you ratings on the various companies that do it.
No, see, Otto, it's like they were listening to you. You know, we had this discussion on the show, and boom, there it is. You got the Consumer Report.
Well, I'm looking at you too. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you talked about it, and I would maybe Google that. Should you get pet insurance? Consumers Report, and it was a pretty good little article, really.
Interesting. What verdict? Should you or shouldn't you?
Well, I don't read the whole thing yet. I didn't get
Oh,
to the
okay. He'll have
verdict.
to in the new year. He'll have to come back with us on the full report.
See,
I will certainly
the
check that out.
final one here is making the insurance decision. I didn't get to that point.
Okay. That's really,
God
he's
bless
leaving
you.
up. Rebecca
Let's
might be
see.
having her three
I just
sisters.
sneezed. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to become a liar here, but so far just the one.
You just had to get out. It was all this sneeze talk. But I just want to remind people, if you missed our first hour that we're recapping with Dr. Blanca Kaplan from Northwell Health, talking all about allergies, please check it out. You could certainly check my North Hempstead TV to find out when you can watch the video, or you can go to the WCWP YouTube page, or you can go to the Project Independence website. So there's all different ways to it. I really recommend everyone listen to it because I'm pretty sure everyone out there is struggling one way or another in this topic. So
And especially, it's a very frightening diagnosis. Want to say, when you're a young parent, when your child is allergic to peanuts. Because back in the day when Matt got that diagnosis, that was it. He was allergic to peanuts. That meant that we went home and got rid of everything peanut, everything not related, and you didn't know what else to do. And then we took him for allergy shots. And it wasn't until to a friend whose child also had allergies that I could breathe a little bit, because you handed this thing when we're talking 25 years ago, and it's just so nice to have this guest on and kind of say, sometimes you test positive for an allergy.
That was the
but
first
it's
time
just
I ever
a
heard about that.
test. And that's what happened with Matthew, because we ate peanut butter his whole life. Now, he was allergic to other things. So, but it's like you were saying, Christine, it's so important to go to an allergist and figure this out, because it's tricky. It really is.
Well,
scary.
Maybe a couple of months ago, we had a person on rheumatologist. So there's rheumatologist, immunologist. These are all people that are kind of like hidden in the corner, if you will. And probably you have to talk to your internist, because most people are not going to go directly to an allergist. They need that link, I think. So basically, you have to you can go directly to the allergist. I'm sure there's no problem with that, but probably a good thing to talk to your regular doctor about the issues and try to coordinate the whole thing.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point, Otto. And I'm like, I know so many people, and I'm constantly yelling at my brother and his fiance because they always get sick. They always get a sinus infection. And I said, you guys need to be proactive and do like a nose spray or take an over-the-counter allergy thing, because I really think that helped me avoid so many things, because before I did that, it would always develop into a sinus infection. And then you have like this whole host of problems when, as the doctor, just doing these proactive measures really kind of prime you and protect you from these things getting worse, hopefully most of the time, that don't quote me, but I'm just saying these things are really, it's important to dive into. So another great one. And thank you to Northwell Health for always being such a good partner with us and having these wonderful speakers on our show. So it was really great. So everyone, check it out. I highly recommend everyone could protect themselves from all the allergens out there. So good stuff. Next week, we have a holiday show. some repeat stuff, and then the following week we have another one because we're fully in the holidays. I can't believe this is the last show of 2023, guys, for us. The last live show, I should say, of 2023.
You had a nice
know, it's hard
turnout
to
for
believe.
the holiday show at Clinton Martin Park.
Yes. We recapped last week a little about, but you were with
Yeah, I
us.
wasn't here.
The success of the show, the party that we had, it was over 200 people came to our Project Independence holiday party. There was all kinds of fun stuff going on. There was a wonderful performance from the Denton Elementary School, the little choir, and there was these lovely students playing the flute. There was caricatures being, drawn up. There was some crafts in the back. Of course, there was music. It was really nice. There was a lot of older faces that we recognize from a lot of our programs, but there was a lot of new faces that joined too. So it was just nice that everyone was kind of mingling, and it was a great thing, Otto. I'm glad you attended and had a good time too.
Yeah, the kids were great. The choir, the fourth grade, I think they were, somewhere
Yeah, they were so
around there.
cool.
Yeah,
They were
very good.
And Kristina, of
They
course,
were.
was also the official photographer of the day.
I was doing a lot of photos for a lot of seniors, but that was that was fun. It was just really great. I was getting tapped and they said, I said, let's grab props, let's do it, guys. So everyone walked away with some fun pictures too. That was nice. So great time had by all. You really felt the spirit of the holiday season at Clinton G. Martin Park that day. So it was great.
Well, I think
And
having
if
kids
you were
involved always adds to that.
that's Otto, that's what Rebecca and I were discussing last week too, that I think that intergenerational programs is something I really hope we can further do, with Project Independence, because I really do think that it's so beneficial on both ends of it. And you just saw the smiles on everyone's faces at that day. So it was really a really nice, really, really nice day.
That's a great thing, by the way, that intergenerational idea. Like I'm pretty actively involved with all of my grandchildren. And,
you know what, Otto, let's come back to that because it is a wonderful topic to talk about. We have to take a quick break. After the break, Kristina, Otto, and I will continue talking about what's going on in the town of North Hempstead. You're listening to Project Independence in You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast, and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio. I'm Rebecca Miller, of course, along with Kristina Liu and Otto Loos. So before we get to talk of the town and what's going on in the town, I just want to talk a little bit about the ways that you can actually listen and watch Project Independence in You. So you can watch Project Independence in You and Talk of the Town on North Hempstead TV, channel 18 and 65 on Optimum, or channel 46 on Verizon Fios. Also on North Shore TV. Shows usually air at 2 p.m. And please visit www.myNHTV for up-to-date schedules. And then you can watch the show on WCWP Studios YouTube channel or on the Project Independence website. So there's so many ways. We were talking about this on the earlier show, how you can access Project Independence in You on the computer. You can have it on the computer, listen to it on the radio, have your laptop, your cell phone, all at the same time. You can listen to 5 different shows at the same time.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
Really maximize the time.
we were talking a little bit about the party, and then also a little bit about the intergenerational stuff that you were.
But I just want to ask you one other
discussing.
question.
Sure.
Do you watch these shows at all?
Yes.
Do you?
All the time. But shout out to Dan Cox, who does a really awesome job editing the shows, and it flows so nice. So there's a lot of times I put it right on when I'm working at my desk. I'll have it on in the background just to see how everything looks, and it's quite professional, I must say.
Do we have any future plans to have closed caption?
Well, the closed captioning, it's like an option. So if you're watching it on YouTube, you can just click and add the closed captioning.
You can?
Yeah, I've done it before on mine. So I assume everybody's able to do that. So there's like usually like a little setting box that you're able to add that. So, and of course, if you're watching it on TV, you could do that right on your television as well.
Okay. Back to the intergenerational.
Intergenerational, Otto. You were just about talking about I think your grandchildren.
Yeah, I'm I think it's important if you can, if you have your family close by, it's great. But I think seeing those kids at that gathering, they were having a good time. I think they were proud of themselves that they were there. They were having a good time. So it was a two-way street. Both sides were smiling. All right.
Absolutely.
So I think if that went a little further, like maybe, okay, now they can come and they can sit, they can talk with the people. Like I walk a lot, and a lot of kids are afraid to look at somebody who's older, like they might take them away or do something to them or whatever. Once in a while, you get a kid who's willing to wave and say hello, but very rarely. For the most part, they're afraid of anybody who's older, particularly a man. All right. So I think it would, you don't know what kind of home setup these kids are coming from. Do they have relationships with older people? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have any older people in the family. So I think the exposure for both sides, for older people to accept the fact that, hey, you know what, I was a kid too. And yeah, this person is a kid, all right? And they don't know what I know. They're only about 80 years behind, so I think it somehow, I don't know how, but an example would have been that day, maybe they could go out and mix with the people who were there a little bit when it was over, maybe go to tables, talk, whatever.
I think it's a great, idea. And I'm always a proponent of it because, and I think you're so right, Otto. I think a lot of the children who might be, hesitant or kind of frightful of, an older person, probably don't have that older person in the family life. If you are fortunate enough, as I've said a bazillion times on the show, I mean, my grandparents watched me when I was a little kid, and my parents were at work, so that bond was so strong. And I even remember with my brother, I mean, we have an age gap, but he still was, involved with my grandparents. I remember when one of my grandparents was in the hospital, there was this older lady, and she must have been like in her like 90s or 100, and she was very, very frail, and she was in the hospital, and she would sit in the hallway, and my brother walked up to her and like held her hand, and her whole face lit up, because most people would just walk by and stuff. So I think that it goes to a long way, and he felt good, she felt good, and it's just something that I really do think is so beneficial on both ends. Even on the show, when we had, your grandkids came on, Otto, and Jackie Shegman had her grandkids, and it was just such a fun exchange of information that was going on. So I really think that you do gain a lot. And there was a program, it was a few years back, that I was involved in, and it was like an intergenerational gardening program that we did, and it was over at Yes We Can Community Center, and there were these little gardening beds that were set up, and it had students mixing with the Project Independence members, and it was such a lovely day. So I hope that there can be more of these things, and there's so many cool ideas of intergenerational stuff to do, and I think it'd be nice. Listen, we're always talking about how great it is to pull the whole community together, and to create that kind of feeling. So I think 2024, that'd be really nice to get some
How
kind
did the Denton Avenue school thing evolve? How did that take place?
I'm not Sure. I just was reached, this was many years back, and I was just asked to participate in it. So I'm not sure who exactly organized the whole thing. I can't remember. It might have been something with the center. But I was just asked, and I was like, "Sign me up. Sounds
No, I
great."
mean
So
now I'm talking
Oh, the
about.
concert for the
Yeah,
concert at the
that
yeah,
party.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
Julie set that up.
Julie's involved with the school board and stuff, so she was able to get them. So, and I mean, listen, there's so many different schools, and community services is involved with a lot of the different schools for different programs they do. So maybe there is a way to reach out to the different schools and kind of get something going in 2024. I think would be really, really nice. So,
On different age levels, like they were in like
right.
fourth grade.
Hmm.
Uh, Teenagers would be interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, I should talk to my granddaughter, who's at the
Hmm.
New Hyde Park Memorial.
Right, exactly.
She's a
Certainly. So,
social worker there.
I just had
yes.
this memory that I'm thinking of as you guys are talking about it. When I was much younger, my grandparents had retired to California. You know, everybody was going to Florida, and mine were very far away. And I would usually go there for Passover or some holiday. And they lived in what I guess is similar to a gated community, but it was on this kind of hill that overlooked this marine base and just like this really cool place. And you could walk around in a circle and go down and then go up. And whenever I would go there, I would do it. And I knew where all my grandparents' really good friends were. So I would visit with them and I'd go in and they'd feed me and give me iced tea. And then I'd go to the next one. And then I would go back up to my grandparents. And I remember always having a stomach ache, but having a really good time because everybody did the same thing. Every house I went to, they would show me their grandchildren and they would say
Yeah.
when they were there and when they were coming back. And then, give me stuff. And then, I go on like the same thing. And it was just kind of like a little ritual I did. And then some of the people who were alone, there were some widowers, they would always get out their like silver and I would go and I would clean their silver. Like they
I
would give
like
me
that.
their like breakfast coming and it would be like around Passover.
Yeah.
So it would be things that they used then. And
Oh,
I
that's
don't
so
know.
nice.
It was just like kind of, and you know what, I'd love to talk to them and see pictures. And of course
Mhm.
they'd feed me. So I was like, then I
Yeah,
go to the
she's
next
in.
house and then I'd come back and I'd be like, oh my goodness, my stomach's killing me, and I take a
Yeah.
nap. So
How
yeah,
old were
I
you?
don't know. I just made me think of that.
How old
Yeah,
were
I
you
love
roughly?
Probably 9,
Oh, really?
10,
Okay.
8, 9. Yeah, 9 around.
Like those kids that were at at
Yeah,
the
right around that
concert.
it.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
listen, I
And
think
that,
it's a
I mean,
great.
I did that till I was like 21, to be honest. I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
I
I
knew
love
I
it.
knew
And
where
I
all the
think
good candy was in the
that's
neighborhood.
right.
So
Absolutely. I love it. Well, I just want to let people also know that in the new year, we're going to have some great shows that so far that are scheduled on the radio show. We have on January 12th will be our live show, our first live show back. Elaine Frankel, who is an author, will be discussing her book, Once Upon a Time in Beverly Hills. So she'll be zooming in from Beverly Hills, which will be really, really fun interview. On January 19th, we have Christina Marini, who is an assistant professor over at Delphi University. She's going to discuss the REB and the RISE study, how veterans cope with stress and how it affects sleep and well-being. And in addition, all the other studies that they're doing there are really, really interesting too. January 26th, we have on Nicole Christensen, who is the president and founder of the Patient Advocacy and Care Coordination. She's also an author. She's going to be talking about how to keep calm and get a patient advocate. So really quite the array of topics. So I'm excited for that. And of course, then we'll be booking. And if anyone ever has any other topic or speaker that they think would be great, please call 311 or 516-869-6311 and ask for me, and I'd be happy to find out.
I
Is there
heard a
any
topic.
topics? Sorry.
I heard
Oh,
another
do you have a
topic.
topic?
Yeah.
you got a good
What is
topic?
it?
A scam. Um,
Okay.
One that I hadn't heard about before, and I'm not an expert on this, but I'm just bringing it up because I think it's worth paying attention to.
Okay.
Gift cards. People have been found out now that they may take a whole bunch of gift cards off of a rack in the store. They go out with them, they alter them, they take the passwords and whatnot off, and then they somehow manage to doctor it up again, and they go back to the store and put the cards on the rack. People buy these gift cards, and then they wind up that the card is worth nothing because somebody already used it with
Right.
the scratched off number.
Right. So like someone buys it and that person waits till it's activated somehow and they use it right away.
Yeah, but they already activated it. And I don't know the whole story there, but what the point is that of what I do know right now is you should look at the cards and make sure that something didn't happen to that card, you know?
Right. If they're fully intact, that they're stuck onto whatever thing, that there's nothing scratched off or peeled off or But
apparently it's a big deal. And
was that on the news this morning, Otto? I thought I heard a quick story on
I
NBC.
saw it
I didn't get to it
couple
though.
of weeks ago. I read it somewhere.
Yeah.
But I looked, I don't know the details. Like, it's always from the bad guy side, right? The bad guy steals 70 cards and plays around with them, and they somehow get usage of those cards. And I don't know how they get money out of them, if they do, or do they just get merchandise? I don't know that either. What happens on that end? What I do know is that the card is of no value to you when you finally get it, because they've taken the value off the card, the bad guys and women, whatever, bad organization. So it's worth paying attention to what that card looks like.
Well, great, because that's I didn't even think about that extent, but of course it's unfortunately as time goes on, these scammers get, more and more crafty. I'm always so aware of anytime I get a gift card, making sure I get that receipt, that says, how much is on there, it was activated, and have that, but what you're saying is that's all well and good, but if someone is, tainted, taints the card and is able to cover it up, it's very difficult. So you're right. The only thing we can do is to really pay attention and look at it, and make sure nothing looks. And then there's usually so many, grab one from the back or something, to really check out.
Yeah, and I'm sure like the police department or Nassau County, whatever, knows the details of this.
Yeah.
I admit I don't. I just know from here that it's a scheme that's going on.
Something we'll certainly stay ahead of. It's really
Hey,
something.
I have some advice. Be mindful. Be
Yes.
mindful of, look at what you're buying. And if anything doesn't look right, maybe there's another one there that does. Just make sure it's intact, nothing's scratched off, nothing's peeled off. I don't know. I wish there was other ways to verify, whether it is or not. It's scary. So just be mindful, be aware. There's a lot of scams during the holidays because there's a lot of shopping. So there's a lot of opportunity for scams to happen. And, you're busy. Like, I went to CVS the other day, Kristina. I'm too embarrassed to say how many gift cards I got because they have every gift card under the sun. But I did like half my shopping.
Yeah. There you go.
You think about gift cards. I have a bunch of gift cards right next to the chair where I sit in an envelope, and I've used some of them. And on some of them, maybe there's $10 left, there's $12 left, there's whatever left. How much money do you think
A little left over?
Bought in gift cards that are never used? Either not used,
I'm sure a lot.
A lot of money.
I think you're talking millions, billions.
Yeah, because I know. So I really try to, use my gift cards as like, so it's hard if it's like a food. I have a lot of like movie theater gift cards still, and I really try because I find, because I make fun of my brother because he literally has like a stack of gift cards, and I'm like, I don't understand why I just don't use the gift cards up, and they're for like all different things. Listen, if I'm getting an Amazon gift card, that's gone, in the next hour that I get it. But it's really, I think about that all the time, and I really try and like make use of the full amount of the gift card because half the time it's always like, oh, there's $2 left, and then like you're not remembering to use it. But it's because I do think about that literally all the time.
Right. I mean, it's got to be a super profitable deal for the businesses, really.
Can we
Right,
talk
it's all
about
good.
something on the other end of shopping that I am
Absolutely.
finding I am excellent at and enjoying and think I
Well,
might
Becky,
need
you're gonna
help?
need to hold that. I'm gonna
Okay.
need you to hold that though for the next segment because we only have a minute left to this one.
Okay, so you know what? After the break, Kristina, Otto, and I will continue talking about what's going on in the town of North Hempstead. You're listening to Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio. I'm Rebecca Miller, along with Christina Liu and Otto Los. Of course, we're talking about what's going on in the town of North Hempstead and also little anecdotes that are coming up with every little thing. And
we want to get it
talking
all
about
out. Get it all out in
Amazon.
2023.
Well,
Right,
you
a
mentioned
gift card.
shopping. You had
So
something.
there's a cliffhanger, right? I
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
can we talk about this? So embarrassing, but I'm enjoying returning stuff, going to UPS, sending things back, and the immediate gratification. Like there were days where, like, when I would return something to Macy's, like, you know how you buy something at Macy's, you put it on your credit card, and boom, it hits your credit card. Why is it though that
it
when
takes
you
forever to get a return?
something, it takes 10 business days for it to turn up? I mean, it's
this
the
is this.
same
I've
thing.
literally pondered these thoughts so many a days.
With Amazon and a lot of other companies, if you go to UPS and they scan your little QR code and they get the packet, it's like immediately you get the email, your return has been credited to your Amazon account. I'm like, this is great.
But you know what's so lovely about it, and it's the gratification of, because so many things, like as you mentioned, you're constantly have to wait for or follow up with. You know, I mean, especially during the holidays, there's so many things, like I'm constantly like trying to track a package, or a package gets lost and I'm reaching out to the company. So when you have a seamless thing that you just, and listen, it's like a little QR code half the time that you don't even have to put your thing in a box, which is like a foreign concept to me. You just come with like an item. You know,
it's unbelievable. It really is.
It is. It blows my mind. You know, I'm so used to like, oh my God, I got to package it and then print this label out. This one, boom, you go, and then you get that.
I just had an experience. I ordered a basketball, you know, because I still play full court basketball. Yeah, right. Now, my two grandsons, when they come, they play basketball. So we go to the park over here, Tully, actually. And so I order a basketball online, and I get a package that looks like this.
You know? Basketball was not inflated.
Yes, I'm saying, what the hell? What kind of basketball is that? You know? Well, it turns out the basketball's not blown up.
Yes.
It's just a fat squash of rubber. So that's not what I was looking for. I thought I was going to get a basketball that was already blown up. I don't have a good pump to blow it up. Point being, all you do is take that thing, put it in an envelope, go to the online returns, and you go to the UPS store. They give you a receipt immediately. And as soon as they get the item, you do get your credit on your account.
I know.
So that's a different game. But I often wonder, I used to do a lot of business with retailers like Macy's, all right, and distribution centers and all kinds of system stuff. And I wonder how many, like Amazon's return department has to be like half of Nassau County. You know, I mean, you know, the stuff that comes back and how they handle it and what they do with it. I mean, that to me is mind-boggling. It used to be, if you were going to do a return, like we're picking on Macy's, but it's not meant to be Macy's. It could be any retailer back when. you would wind up,
Hurts.
you'd have to wait online. You'd have to go to wherever the store was. You'd have to wait online. Usually there was always a line for returns, you know, and it was a whole ordeal. That's not the case anymore.
I know.
The other part of the basketball story, by the way, is I decided, well, I'm going to go to a sporting goods store and look at the basketball and see what I'm getting into. And I was very, very surprised to see that that sporting goods store was very crowded and doing a good business over in Roosevelt Field.
Okay.
You know, there were a lot of people out shopping as well.
Well, you know,
You
it's
know,
sometimes, listen, I love an online, I've said it before, I love to online shop, but there's some things that you need to see in store. So I think it's nice to, and I do think it's nice, especially on a random note, to support a local business around this time of year. You know, there's nothing better than those little shops because you find something unique. And especially if you're just trying to find that perfect thing and just to support them too is nice. So I try and just support all retail things, whether you're online, you're a big chain, you're a small thing. So my love is spread around to all these stores and my love of shopping. So uh, at this holiday season.
yeah,
So
well, I
it's
often wonder about how big a warehouse you actually have for all
I
your,
don't have quite a big warehouse. I just I know how to pack and
you could
stack, you
probably
know.
use one. Well,
It's really,
yeah,
and speaking of gratifying feelings, is last week, and thank the Lord because I was a little sick for a little bit, but I was healed up to really embark on the marathon of festivities that I had to go through. And I was so nervous I was going to be sick for it because I was healthy for the PI holiday party, which was on a Wednesday. A Thursday, I had to go visit one set of my nieces and my cousins. So my mom and I went, and we bring giant sacks filled with presents for the kiddos. So that was really fun. Then on Friday was my mom's birthday. So I did a little breakfast cookie baking thing for my mom. Then on the 16th, I had my best friends over and we had a little friends where we do our gift exchange. And of course, I tell my mom I'm keeping it small, but she doesn't know what that word is. And she made all these adorable appetizers for the party. Then on the 17th, on Sunday, I had my family over and my other set of nieces and my goddaughter come over to give them their presents. So it was jam packed, but the most satisfying feeling was like I could start to see my spare room again because now I'm shipping. The gifts are now like coming out. So you could actually breathe. And I said to my husband, I said, you could actually like, walk in and breathe because I'm telling you, Christmas time, I have a sign that says Santa's Workshop, a metal sign. It gets thrown up on the door. That door stays shut. And it's just nice to like just see it, gradually just shed these gifts and spread the joy and get my spare room back. So that is a gratifying feeling for myself, I must say.
So Kristina and Otto, both, I mean, and me, tell me something that happened in 2023 that was really great for you. And also, what are you hoping for in 2024?
Ooh.
Oh,
Otto?
wow. Let's go for what I'm hoping for. All right.
Okay.
I think a big hope is always, as you move along the train ride, is that you have good health.
Yep. Number
so
one.
I'd say good health, constant communication with my family, and the ability to do things like I'm doing as we speak. The ability to be mobile, and I guess also the ability to adapt to any changes that may come along. I think that's kind of important in life. Without getting, like you look down the road and you realize it's not always going to be the way it is right now. All right.
Yeah.
So one of them is to really be mindful of what you do have right now, what you have at this moment in time. And I don't think I have any major, like I want to go to Tokyo or, any of that kind of thing. It's a little more simplistic than that. I have a list of things I'd like to accomplish. I hope I'm able to. And it's pretty simple, actually. As far as 2023 goes, we had a tough year in some respects. We lost a number of close people. And I would say, but on the plus side, we've got to meet our great granddaughter. Uh,
Beautiful.
we had a lot of really good events um, with family, friends, with you guys. I love doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's not a job. This is fun to me. For you guys, you work, but it's still, I think, fun for
Still
you.
fun.
It's, different part of your job. So I think, again, being simplistic, uh, the fact that I can walk and talk, and uh, those are all good things.
And more than that, because I say Otto, and my goal in 2024 is to be more like Otto. Really, is what my goal is. But I was talking about you to my family, which I often do, Otto, and I was just saying, you truly take things in your stride. And you're not like a high alert, high anxious person, and sometimes you, as you said, you're dealt things that are not the best of things, but you know what, you move forward, you accept it, and you're so proactive in all aspects of life that you prevent a lot of things, because you are so proactive. And it's something that I strive to be, and I'm making a joke that I'm going, God, but it is, 2023 handed me a lot of like not so great things, but you know what? We're moving through. And at the time those things seem, like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to, get past it? But you do. And it's always a reminder towards the end of the year to say like these little things and big things also that you spend so much time, just completely obsessing on and freaking out on. And then you like think you're like, well, what did that really do? So I hope, hope you could only try that, in 2024 that I can, be more, mindful and, not I am the child of Barbara, so my mind can get a little crazy and wander in all possibilities of everything. But I think it is, to be more present. And I look back and, I've had so many encounters with different people. And I was saying to my husband just the other day, like, you're so caught up in the hustle and bustle and the moving, and time goes by so fast. I mean, I'm still shocked that we're in December when I feel like we were just in the summer.
I
Like,
know,
so
right?
it's so
Yeah.
weird. So it's just like this rapid go, and it's hard, as long as you, and I look, you stop, and I've been having conversations with people, and they're always like, oh, you always have the best time, you make things the most special, and I'm like, oh my God, do I? So it's like these things that you don't even think about until someone else, you see how they're looking at it, whether I'm sharing some kind of photos or something. So I think it is a moment, I would like to have more moments of just like pausing and just being grateful and reflecting on these things and being present and mindful in those moments. And I always think back, when you had that conversation about mindfulness and how it's so important to like not rush time and to be like thinking, because I'm a planner. I love to plan. That's part of my personality. I can't fully give that up because I love to do that. But I think it's your on my brain is always okay, on to the next event, on to the next holiday, so it's constantly 10,000
Mhm.
steps ahead, when sometimes you just need to take a pause and just be present in
Smell the
the here.
flowers, as they used to say, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to try and do that more in 2024. That's my hope.
That's great.
That's my hope. So
Rebecca?
what about
So,
you, Becky?
I'm sitting here listening to both of you, and Kristina, like, I agree when you talk about Otto, like the word that came to mind, if I could just find a word to kind of associate with who he is and just everything we know about him, is authentic.
Yep.
You're an authentic guy, you're real, you don't say anything you don't mean ever. You're just fully, I mean, you're just authentic about everything.
You're
Was
just the
2023
ultimate
the greatest
gold.
year? No, but
Right.
you pulled out some really great
Yeah.
stuff, and you really just want people to be healthy. I mean, that's like, and I really believe you, and I know that's really what you want. You're just this kind of authentic guy. And
Well,
Kristina, when you talk,
I appreciate all of that, but you're supposed to be telling
but
us.
I know, but part of it is kind of, doing
She's
my
being
own thing,
grateful.
and then like just listening to you guys, every week, and just acknowledging who you are and what you mean to all of us and to the world. And Kristina, the word that came to my mind, I'm writing it, like I didn't even, is passionate. And I think your passion drives you and, makes you not be able to rest and, and then have the days where you can, and it really depends on what's at your fingertips. Is you're so passionate about everything, everyone you love, your friends, your mother,
exhausting,
your Jay. I'm passionate about him too, but that's another story. No, your dog. So I mean, it's just something. So you guys both are very real in those ways. I don't know. I just find that. So 2023, had definitely its ups and downs. I lost another dear friend. It was very, very rough. It still is. But I had some wonderful things too. I traveled. I did an incredible trip of a lifetime, which I think about every day. But more importantly, my son graduated school. He's an employed, sought after classical guitarist, and he just bought drums. So I'm not really thrilled with that, but that's another story. And for 2024, I just want our team and the world to kind of, I don't want to say get back, but just have some peace, like peace for everyone and fun. I think we all need to have fun. Like if every day there has to be fun in your life, and whether fun means, enjoying a meal with your family or having an exciting evening out or going to the beach,
it could just be something so little. And I think that Otto hit the nail on the head too, from the beginning. Yes, grand, big things are awesome. But I do think, we're all at a place where, the little tiny gestures, the little outings go such a long way. Especially, I think, we're all still rocked from the world and the pandemic and, all the, negativity that you see in the news, so sometimes it's like just to have peace, is really the ultimate goal, health and peace. For everyone, I think goes such a long way. So I hope that we all certainly could have more of that in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I think us and most people I know wish they had a magic wand that they could tap on people's heads and eliminate all the hate
That'd be great. I want that.
And the fanatic views that cause all kinds of different problems, and all the poor people that suffer as a result of that, which they really don't want to be part of, but they're the victims of the people who have this hate that causes all these problems. And whatever side you think is right or wrong, there are people who suffer who have absolutely nothing to do with either one of those points. Right? There's just, and that I wish I had a magic wand for, but I don't. So your next choice is you have to be thankful. Like I sit with Bunny a lot of nights. We'll watch TV, sitting in a recliner, and I say, we're sitting here fat, dumb, and happy, and there are other people sitting there with tanks riding down the block in front of their house, and people knocking on the door, making sure you're the right kind of person.
Yeah. Be grateful, be mindful, be respectful, and be kind. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Project Independence and You Talk of the Town. I obviously want to thank Kristina and Otto for another great show. Kristina, bravo. 2023, an incredible year for radio, for this program. You really...
More for 2024.
That's right.
Happy and healthy,
Project Independence... Oh yeah, let's do it. Pop.
I got a bottle opener.
I got one. Project Independence and You is a production of Long Island University Public Radio. Dan Cox is our engineer. Join us again next Friday at 10 a.m. on LIU Public Radio. Happy New Year, all.